Good. Okay. All right, Shalom. It's the brothers from the GMS Atlanta camp. First and foremost, we want to start off by saying, give all glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakar, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone who lead, teach, and rule well. And love and salutation to you, faithful Akim, pushing the word and sincerity and truth across the four corners. So, pretty much we'll get into a lesson on pretty much younger men being geared to and having the mindset and developing the mentality of preparing to lead, because one thing that we hope and believe in is that these camps are going to grow, and as these camps grow, younger men are going to be charged with leading younger men, the flock that comes in after us, so you have to develop yourself to one, be a great leader, a good follower in order to become a great leader, So I was sure get that in First Samuel. Start off with that actually.
First Samuel.
Um,
This is First Samuel chapter 8, verse 12. It says, and he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots.
Right, and the major point in that we want to bring out is the appointing of men underneath other men. That goes into how the Lord is very particular, and he wants us to do everything in decency and order. So with that, there's going to come a point in which you're going to have men that are going to look up to you for guidance and leadership, and you got to be ready for that. Now, of course, it's not just a switch that flips overnight. The spirit, you got to trust the spirit that's going to build you and develop you to when it's time for 1, 2, 3, 10, 50 men to be underneath you. You're going to have the proper experience and foundation that you're going to be able to do that, But it all starts with first developing the mentality and mindset that you got to realize that, you're going to have men that are going to be looking up to you and who want to need answers and guidance, and a major thing that younger men have to look at is the men before them in your own camps. Men who have been around for 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 15 years, however long it is, that the older established men have been pushing in your camps because they have certain experiences that you just don't have yet. There's certain things and certain lessons you really only learn by sustaining the test of time. Time and longevity in itself, especially in its truth, it instills in you certain values, certain experiences, certain perspectives that you see how certain things are played out through the spirit. But it takes a man who is paying attention to those things, that you pick up on that, so that you're able to share those experiences with other men when they come across similar situations. All right, Zachariah, go ahead and read that in Matthew, Babakasha.
Come. This is Matthew 16 and 24. Then said Yahweh Shah unto his disciples, if any man come after me, let him deny himself.
And first and foremost, the first model of man that we have to follow is Yahweh Shai. Because Yahweh Shai coming onto this earth being sinless and having showing what it is to be a real man of our nation. Someone who's who is fully about his people, man. Who is selfless. Who would get down on his knees and wash the feet of the men that he loves. And what is it? Read that again for me, Babu Shah.
This is Matthew 16 and 24. Then said Yahweh Shah unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up the cross and follow me.
So you got to first deny yourself. Well, one, you have to understand who you're following. You're following the leadership leadership and example of Yahweh Shai. And in that, what did Yahweh Shai do? Yahweh Shai denied himself. He put the needs of his people above everything. He took up his cross or his burden, and he proceeded to move forward.
Want me to continue?
Read verse 25.
This is verse 25. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it.
So ultimately, what are we seeking? Why are we doing the things that we're doing? Because we're hoping to save our lives. We're hoping to be to attain salvation of the oncoming destruction. But in order to do that, you have to first do what? You got to lose your life on this side, man. You have to fully embrace the mentality of I'm sacrificing everything in order to attain this salvation. Because by you sacrificing everything, you're showing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai what you're about, which is you're about the will of the Heavenly Father. Is there more on that? Or is that it?
There's more.
And
whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
So you're losing your life on this side in order to find your life on the other side, in order to inherit the promises given to us through these scriptures, through these prophecies. You're losing your life in order to save and preserve the lives of your family, man. You're losing your life in order to pretty much more or less show yourself to be worthy of being a first fruit. And that's really what it's all about, man. It's really what it's all about. And by you doing that, you actually become a servant. Because, and that's why, going into the topic of younger men preparing yourself to lead, actually what you're preparing yourself for, it isn't to be the most eloquent speaker, on camp and have the most followers and, the people giving you the most glory and notoriety for, you tearing it up on the highways and byways, man. You actually sign yourself up to be the biggest servant. You're signing yourself up, even with the brother just read in Matthew. You're actually signing yourself up to give everything up on this side, to actually attain the greater reward, which is salvation and inheriting the kingdom of heaven once Yahweh Shai comes back to establish his kingdom on earth. And if brother's got anything to add, feel free. But right, bring on what you got. Like 1 Corinthians.
This is 1 Corinthians 11:1. Be ye followers of me, even as also I am of Mashiach.
Read that one more time, Baba Shah. Exalt your voice too, Baba Shah.
This is 1 Corinthians 11:1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Mashiach.
And that's a big criteria that men really should be looking for, especially younger men. Because what you have to understand is, first and foremost, there is an order, man. You're going to have to come up under men who are going to teach you the proper way. You can't just sit at home and read, for yourself and expect to get the proper understanding and the proper breakdown of these scriptures. That's just not the way it works.
And when you look up that word, followers, the Greek word is G3402, which is mimetis, which means imitator. So you got to imitate things in the spirit that men over you have done, that they've got from other men. Eventually, this thing is like a food chain. It starts with Elder Apostle Tahar on down. So we're supposed to be imitators of men who have ultimately we're following Yahweh Shai, but while he hasn't came back yet, we still have to follow men who have set this pattern. So this isn't something where you just come in, like the brother said. A lot of Jake get the idea that it's all about them and they want to be the top speaker in Israel, but you got to be an imitator. You got to be a follower.
And that's really, like Scripture speak about, that's really walking that straight gate, man. It's so narrow that you can't take one step to the left or to the right. You're really pretty much, your eyes are on the back of the head of the man in front of you, man. That's really the way it's designed to work. And you know, and a big problem that Jake has in the world, man, is that me, I spirit, man, that ego, man. Because that's really the energy that Esau is pushing our people, man, to be very selfish and self-centered
and proud.
It's like, now you good, and proud, you know, and with that pride comes destruction, because this thing, this thing of ours, man, is really about humility, man. Because you really show your appreciation and understanding of these scriptures by humbling yourself down and really becoming a servant, man. Just like Yahweh Shai. That's why we read in that Hebrews 11:1. You know, it's really about you being a servant. Because even by you getting power, you know, men talk about spiritual powers and, you know, things of that nature, which is another lesson. You know, but really the spirit that's going to be put on certain men to attain those things, those outer worldly things, are only because you showed yourself worthy through humility. It's not through your own strength and your might and how much weight you can lift and how big and bad you are. It's about how big and bad you are in the spirit. And you show and manifest your big and badness by understanding the importance of humility.
Add to your point too. And another key of being, you know, a leader is you got to be in the fight. You got to scrap up your boots. You got to put on the whole armor, and you got to be actually active, you know, in this thing. You can't sit back and try to reap the benefits, you know, without putting in that work and leading by example. Okay, you can talk a good game, but what are you doing? What works are you putting in to actually, you know, let that light shine that younger men will see that they'll want to follow.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you want that up?
Yeah, 1 Corinthians.
I
got a precept.
Right.
All right, this is Zephaniah 2:3. Seek ye the Lord, all you meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. You know, yeah, I looked up that word, the word meek. I believe it was the Hebrew word anah, which means humble, lowly, and meek. So that's how you have to come. You know, once you're in the faith, you know, like the brother said, Jake has a problem with receiving instruction because Esau is planting his head that he can be whatever he wants to be, say how you feel. You know, this isn't a thing where you can say how you feel. That can cost you your life.
Yeah, because Esau's out of order. The things he teach, you know, this nation, all things are out of order and it's wicked. That's why 1 Corinthians. Actually, let me just bring it out. This is 1 Corinthians 14 and verse 40. Let all things be done decently in order, and that's that actual order of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. When you first come in this thing, you know, the first thing to do, you know, as a newborn babe, according to the scriptures, is to listen and keep drinking that milk and learning from other Akim that's been in this thing for, you know, 10 plus years, you know, 5 plus years. It's just a natural order. Even Yahweh Shai, he can't be out of order. He's a representation of the Most High. And he had to do all things, you know, diligently and in order. And that's all I want to say on that one.
Are you any more on that?
On this 1 Corinthians. That was pretty much the point.
You hold anything else?
I'm holding Hebrews 10 and 36.
Bring it out.
This Hebrews chapter 10 verse 36. For ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of the Most High, ye might receive the promise.
See, but the key point in that is ye have need of patience, man. And meaning you need to have patience. You can't rush this thing, man. You can't rush to be the top. You can't rush to do anything, honestly. You know, and in this world, this society, somebody hold for me, James 6:63, Bible shot. In this world, in this society, you know, it's all about go, 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 get it now, get it now. You know, YOLO, get it while you live. But you have to understand that in this thing of ours, man, it's not that way. It's all about patience, man. It's all about sitting back and reflecting and meditating and actually trying to really fully understand the lesson that the Spirit is trying to teach you in that moment. You know, who other James 6:63?
I said James what?
6:63.
6:63.
Okay.
There's a little bit more to the Hebrews while you grab.
You can bring.
This is verse 37. For yet a little while, and he that shall come will come, and will not tarry.
Bring
Now, go ahead.
Break it down.
Come. If I start back at 36. For ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of the Most High, ye might receive the promise. For yet a little while, and he that shall come will come, and will not tarry. Right. So you gotta have that patience, like the brother was saying. Okay.
John 6:63.
You know, for a little while, and you know what the increase that's gonna come is gonna come. You know, as long as you be patient. All right. And the scripture said will not tarry.
Okay. We'll bring that over, John.
John, this is John 6:63. It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit.
Right. And that's one thing to really ingest in this time now too, is that there's gonna be younger men who are gonna be getting it quick, man. You know, getting it quick. And it's up to us to learn to get it as best as we can now to help guide that fire, man. Because what you begin to learn is that as the Spirit substitutes you and builds you up, you got opposing forces coming at the same time, you know, equally, if not as sometimes greater, to try to steal that understanding that the Most High has put in that vessel. So, with that, you got to know how to guide these energies, man. How to actually teach a young man how to grow properly, you know. Bring that Ecclesiastes.
I'm gonna finish it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just reading. We said.
Call and read.
This is John 6:63. It is the Spirit that quickeneth, and the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life.
And they are life, man. And even with that, you know, we have to build ourselves properly to understand what we actually reading. Are we understanding the words properly? Because you actually breaking this spirit, the food down to feed the younger men. You know, so that goes even to us. You know, men who are getting a little bit of time underneath their belt, more or less. You know, what are we doing in our downtime? You know, are we doing things properly to build ourselves? Because through you building yourself, you're actually able to build other men around you.
I got a precept on that.
Okay.
This is Proverbs 4:7. It says, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all that getting, get understanding." So it's just not, that's another thing. A lot of men come into this faith, or they watch the videos and think it's about knowing 101 precepts. It's about actually, you know, applying these scriptures to your life. Because that's what it's mainly about. It's not about looking cool so you can post, you know, you can post your so you can post things on social media and then, you know, get all this vain glory. It's about getting understanding of who you are, how to conduct yourself, how to move in this faith, and you know, how to get salvation at the end. So it's in the long run, you know, a lot of men, you know, get that misunderstanding that it's just about yelling at the so-called white man every Saturday. But you got to actually look into these scriptures, search into these scriptures, and renew your mind first and foremost too. You know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua.
Con.
This is Ecclesiastes 5:2. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before the Most High.
And that's really geared more so to the younger men. You know, because when you coming in, really you don't really want to say too much, man. You know, you don't want to be rash or abrasive with your mouth. Really, you want to really begin to master the art of being silent, man.
Matter of fact, can you jump up to verse 1?
I'm gonna jump up to verse 1. Ecclesiastes 5:1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. For they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before the Most High. For the Most High is in heaven, and thou open earth, and thou upon earth. Therefore, let thy words be few.
And that's what's about. Like, you know, let your words be few. This isn't a platform for you to you know, spew out everything that's been happening to you since, you know, you were 12 or whatever, man. Or, you know, this isn't a time to start, like I said, you know, men that's coming into the faith think it's all about yelling at the so-called white man. And, you know, since the black woman did him wrong back in 2003, it's about, you know, getting on the so-called black woman. That's just being rash with your mouth. And, you know, we've all been there, but, you know, this is more like instructions for younger men that's coming in, you know, to take heed from our mistakes and apply them to your walk. So, you know, the room for error, and, you know, is less.
Beautiful. And that also goes into that John 6:63. Because if younger men actually listen to men who are before them, in which the order by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is set up, if you listen to those men who've had certain experiences, you're going to actually begin to cut your learning curve, man. Instead of me walking through certain fires or certain obstacles, I'm going to stop before the obstacle and walk around it. So I took heed to wise counsel. That's a beautiful point.
Because you know, Jake, they like to learn the hard way. But
right.
You don't have in this faith. You don't have to learn the hard way. You don't have to make a serious mistake, because you know the scriptures say to you know, seek counsel. You know, the multitude of counselors there are safety. So, you know, that's another thing. You know, you gotta seek men, even if it's something that's small. And you know, you gotta seek counsel on small matters.
And like the brother said, there's safety in counsel, man. Because you have men, and you can't look at this from a carnal aspect of, you know, I'm 30, 35, this brother is 20, 22. Well, shoot, man, if that brother been in the truth for 5, 6 years, he's actually older than you in the spirit, man.
Yeah. He's
seen more and been through more experiences than you have. So it would behoove you to listen to that man, especially when the Spirit's working through him to tell you something, man. Whether it's something about yourself that's already happened or something that may be getting ready to happen. Listen, man. Let your words be few. Open your ears and close your mouth. And that's a harder thing for Jake to do, because that's counter to what has been instilled in us from this world. And the world's all about being big, bad. You know, the biggest dude on the block, man.
Outspoken.
But in this kind, but in this thing of ours, man, really your strength is in your humility, man. Your strength is in your servitude. Your strength is really being like Yahweh Shai.
Con.
You finished with that precept?
Con, that was it on that.
All right, I want to bring out this one. This is Hebrews 13 and 17. It says, obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. So, the scriptures clearly point out that you have to obey them that have the rule over you. Like the brother said, it doesn't matter if you're 36, 37, and a brother is like 20. That man's been in the faith and he's been through more. He's been catching more hell, going through more obstacles in his faith than you just waking up to this truth. Man's coming in, they know a few precepts, so it's, it's key to obey them, to have the rule over you. Like you said, like the brother brought out, let all things be done decently and in order. Mm-hmm. So, you can't, like I said earlier, it's a food chain. You can't exactly go, it's like basketball, man. When you first learning how to play and you first learning how to shoot and do fundamentals, you don't go for the point guard position and the guys already fill that position. You can't come in trying to take Russell Westbrook's position and you just learn how to dribble.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it's important to pay attention and obey those men who are over you in the spirit.
And if I can build on your point too, a lot of times the best players or the people who understand the game the most are the ones who came in it and around the game as children. Mm-hmm. Like the coach's son, more or less, because you actually see it from the ground up, man. You see the foundational things that actually go into making a great or a superstar player a superstar. Mm-hmm. You learn the fundamentals and basics, the X's and O's, the strategies and schemes. And then, too, you see more and more circumstances and situations play out as you learn from those experiences. A lot of times men can advise you of certain things that they don't even have to go through personally themselves. Because they witnessed and they saw other men go through those things. And they sat back and they analyzed it and they filtered it through the scriptures to get an understanding of how best to operate in that situation. So that's why it's not even about the age of a man. It's about how long that man has been fighting and pushing for Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai.
Yeah, because personally, like a quick testimony, when you were just speaking about longevity, when I first got into the camp, it was a lot of discussions about enduring to the end, staying in this walk, not letting go of this faith. And that's just, like I said, basic fundamentals in this faith. Continuing in this faith. It's just more, like I said, it's just much more than knowing a bunch of precepts and yelling at the so-called white man. It's about enduring. We even have examples in the Bible, like where Paul, 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy, he was writing epistles to Timothy about certain matters in the church, and eventually exhorting him to continue in the faith. So this thing of ours is all about enduring to the end and being saved. It's not about vainglory or preaching strife for vainglory. So we all want to get saved. We don't want to wake up and have to go to work in the morning anymore.
But see, the understanding of that is also, while we on this side, get your ass up and go to work, man. We earned this captivity. So we gotta earn our way out of this captivity, man.
How do we say that?
What? So we're at that Mark 10. We're gonna close out on that. Mark 10 and 42.
You said Mark 10 and what?
42.
I'm there if you need it.
Yeah, go ahead and bring it out. We're gonna go into this real quick. This is Yahweh Shai, man. Because this is Yahweh Shai speaking about the Gentiles and the men that ruled over the Gentiles, because we're getting ready to come into a time in which those Israelite foreigners are getting ready to flood these camps, man. I'm gonna let Rock bring it out. I'm gonna flood these camps, you know, to where the hopeful elect, the men who the Most High has put the Spirit in them to really stand bold for this truth, you know, to bear that cross, and, you know, to really who are really adamant about getting the nation of Israel out of this captivity. They're getting ready to come to these camps, man. Mm-hmm. So us as younger men, we got to really embody what Yahushua stood for while he was on this earth, the example he laid forth. So we're going to go into some of the words of Yahushua. I'm going to close out.
Mark 10 and 22. 42. Salah. Mark 10 and 42. But Yahushua called them to him, and saith unto them, Ye know that they which are accounted to rule over the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, mm-hmm. and their great ones exercise authority upon them.
And that can even be transposed into these wicked the wicked leaders of these other Israelite groups, man. Mm-hmm. How they're exercising lordship over them to really extort things out of them, to pull their resources, man, to pull their money, to pull their faith, to pull their belief in the Most High. Because these people really they haven't been blessed really with the Holy Spirit to have the true understanding of these scriptures. And one thing that we're going to begin to do through the Spirit, empower Yahushua, and through the leadership of the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, we're going to begin to extract the real sheep and the real servants of the Most High, man, from these groups. Because it's gonna click one day in their mind when Yahushua puts the Spirit on them of truth and prophecy, man. They're gonna understand they're in the wrong thing. Just like we were all at one point in the wrong thing, man. The Spirit's gonna pull these people out. It's gonna bring them into the fold. Mm-hmm. But when that happens, what do we have to do? Continue reading on about Fusha.
This verse 43. But so shall it not be among you.
But so it should not be among you, man.
But whosoever.
Hold on, Slaki. When these people come to us and they really have a yearning in their spirit to really understand the Most High, to really understand Yahushua. It's not going to be for us to exercise lordship over them, man. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be for us to use them for what they can do for us. Continue.
But whosoever will be great among you shall be your minister.
And that word minister really goes into serving. So minister, you can really replace that with a servant. So read that again, Baba Kusha, that last point.
But whosoever will be great among you shall be your minister.
But so whoever shall be great among you. So once again, to go on a quick tangent or the opposite side of that coin, it ain't about getting the praises, man.
God.
It ain't about getting the carnal glory. If you want to be great in this thing, man, you gotta be a greater servant, man. Mm-hmm. Because like the brother brought out earlier, you're looking over people's souls, man. This ain't no small thing. This is a major thing. And you best believe that Yahushua takes the souls and salvation of his elect very seriously, man. As should you. So with that level of understanding, you gotta understand that it's about serving, man. Mm-hmm. It's about being a leader through service, through sacrifice, through how much you can put on the line for your brothers, man. Continue.
Verse 44. And whosoever of you will be the chiefest shall be servant of all.
And this is Yahushua. So if you want to be at the pinnacle, if you want to think of yourself as an apostle and elder in this thing, you got to be an apostle and elder of servanthood, man. Mm-hmm. Not of having the coldest precept and having the loudest voice to condemn Edomites on the street. Mm-hmm. You got to be the baddest servant in the backdrop, man, when nobody even sees it.
Yep.
That's really what it's all about. And we can confidently say that's what it's all about because that's what Yahweh Shai said it's all about. Slide. Continue.
Verse 45. For even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto.
So even the Son of Man, Yahweh Shai, came not to be served, man. Yahweh Shai didn't come from the spiritual realm to be to get gold and clothes and chariots and the best of food. Continue.
But to minister and to give his life as a ransom for many.
So Yahweh Shai came upon this earth to serve, man. To minister. To show and actually depict what it is to be a willing servant of the will of the Most High. And to give his life as a ransom, man. To shed his blood so our dirtiness and filthiness can be covered, man. That's what it's about. So if Yahweh Shai can do that, if he can give his life, literally give his life, then that's what we're called to do. We're called to we're called to give our lives as a living sacrifice, man. And to stand boldly as to why we're doing that. We're doing that so that our people may attain salvation through the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai, who gave his life as a ransom. Is there more on that?
That was it.
Anybody else got anything?
No, I'm okay.
Con. So we're just gonna end off with that. Once again, all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakar Kodash. Double honors to the apostle, elders of Great Millstone, who lead, teach, and rule well. Honors and salutations to you, faithful occupant, push the word in truth, sincerity, Lord willing, you will edify. Until next time, shalom.
Shalom.